Good evening and welcome to another edition of Monday Night Magpie live with Mark Stallard and myself. Welcome to tonight's show. We're going to be forensically looking at the run-in, not just of Notts County, but of the other teams in the promotion picture. Mr. Stallard has been doing his homework like a good un. He's got all the schedules and everything lined up. We'll be interested to hear your thoughts on top three and top seven. We're in a much different place, aren't we, to Tuesday night, quarter to 10, drowning our sorrows in just about every single possible way on the way home from Boundary Park. Full of the joys, we all are at the moment. We are a little bit threadbare, particularly at the back. Injuries, suspensions mounting up. How concerned are you by that? Who's got their tickets for Salford, one of our perennial bogey teams in League Two? For my money, just talking with Stowe before we went on air, I think this is the trickiest and hardest game we have got to win of the remaining six. And I think if we can, I think to use Mark's phrase, if we can navigate this one, I'm probably much more optimistic about being in the top three. Cards on the table will always be trying transparent and objective as possible. For me, I think the odds are still slightly against. 85 is that points target. I don't think any less will do. Four wins might do us, but I think they would have to be those wins to include both Salford and Cambridge. If Colesberg did football weekends, we've just had one. If you're a Notts County fan, with all of those results, still not found anyone that put a fiver on all that set of results for promotion contenders. You would be sitting on a nice, healthy, and tidy profit. So, lots to discuss in the show. Thank you, as always, to our official partners, JH Accountants, Big Shed, Trent Navigation, and Over the Road. Caught up with Kedwin, a few messages over the weekend. Don't forget, early bird discount, £12. You need to get your tickets by Easter. It's Wednesday, May the 13th. That's the exact third anniversary of when we actually beat Chesterfield. That hasn't happened very often since, has it? So make sure you get those tickets. More guests to be announced shortly. Myself and Stowe will be there. I've done about 170 so far. So make sure you get those tickets. Let's just get a very quick few messages from the flock. Jono Hammocks. Evening, Mark and Paul. What wonders a win makes, and results go for as well. I felt the negativity was always over the top after a defeat. I feel we need a sense of balance until the end of the season. Managers and players do balance, Jono. Fans, we don't do balanced, do we? Up and down. Jono goes on. We only beat Harrogate, let's not forget. However, it was still an excellent win. And good to see Jatta getting a couple of goals for his confidence. I genuinely think we've got enough quality in the squad to get automatic. It's simple, but it's true. One game at a time. Let's all be positive. Matt Cook, sorry, might not be able to listen in live. He posted this in the afternoon at just after 3 o'clock, as I'll be doing the bedtime routine for my 9-month-old, who is not sleeping much at all at the moment, leaving me plenty of time to contemplate my predictions. Here goes. Top three: Cambridge, MK Dons, and Notts County. Bromley, Salford, Swindon, Grimsby for the playoffs. Salford versus Grimsby final. Grimsby to win. Matt goes on. 4 wins and 2 draws definitely does it, I reckon. Possibly room for one more loss, provided we win 4. Cambridge must be a win, and ideally Friday too. Ian Hayward, good win Saturday with others around us losing. Just got to stay up there, and hopefully the pressure is now on Cambridge. How exciting is the end of season going to be this year? Still autos for me. Mrs. Magic Boots Agana, 6 games need nerves of steel from now on in, as there will be unexpected results. Top 3 definitely achievable. Fans have a big part to play to boost confidence. I've even found an old Vuvuzela. Do you remember them from the South African World Cup? Richard Terry, then we'll get to Stell. The run-in is going to be really exciting. We've enjoyed the ups and downs of this season, the moans and the groans, but with fingers crossed, we'll hopefully achieve the aim. Cookie, Ian Cooksey, Notts, MK Dons and Swindon to get automatics. Everybody will be that busy beating each other that Swindon will nip in and get the 3rd spot. I think it is any 3 from 6 now. And over the Irish Sea, Mark Williams Island Pie. Evening all turned out to be a great win and 3 points. You would have got very good odds on the other results. Fairly cheered me up listening to 5 Live between 3 and 5 p.m. while I was painting the spare room. There you go. Stell, well, ups and downs and all that. Let's try and sort of project forward if we can. There's no midweek game. Make sure the show as current as possible all week ahead of Salford on Friday. I think you and I, when we had this discussion before Oldham, the last time we were on the show together, we'd got it round about 30 to 35% on that gauge for Notts to go up. Obviously, you can do loads of fence sitting in a minute when we all choose the top 3 and the 7. What percentage have you got it now?
Right. Well, now, as we sit here, after the results Saturday, because obviously that swung it a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
I've got us 40 to 45% now. Still odds again,
Okay.
slightly, but you know, and a bit of that is on the basis of like losing Matty Platt and Rod McDonald, so we're a little bit thin. We cannot afford injuries in the run-up, as I'm sure every team in the top 6, or you know, we're looking at top 6 for automatic, really, with maybe an outside bet being Grimsby with their game in hands, but maybe not. Yeah, I would say 40 to 45% now. I think we're in a stronger position, weirdly, a week on from where we were a week ago, despite that defeat at Oldham. But again, that was equalised by all the results going our way on Saturday afternoon after we beat Harrogate. So I think we're still slightly odds against, but it's a better percentage than it was a week ago.
So you've mentioned injuries, suspensions. Are there any other factors as to why you think we're not quite, if you like, even money or better at this moment in time?
Well, again, you can talk about it. It's in our hands technically, but the fact we've got 2 away games at Salford and at Cambridge, I think, obviously that puts the onus on us. But it's a fine line. One thing to say is we're coming into apart from obviously Cambridge, you've got a game in hand. We're coming into the last 6 games of the season for everybody else. You know, nobody in the division in the form table in the last 6 games is unbeaten. So at the minute, if you go back 6 games, nobody's unbeaten. So there'll still be twists and turns between now and the end of the season. By the time we play Salford on Friday, Cambridge are hosting Swindon, which is a big game, obviously, at the top of the table. We'll be all paying attention to. But look, it's in our own hands, is what we can say. You know, go and win them games, go and win every game we're up, obviously. But every team will say it's in their hands. I think Bromley, you know, they'll take some catching, although they've got a tough run in. Look, it's the running. There'll be slips and, you know, unexpected results, twists and turns. Then you look at us, Bristol Rovers, last day of the season. They're an informed team at the minute now. So look, it's fantastic position to be in terms of the neutral, for excitement, for entertainment, for nerves, and all that. But I just think them results on Saturday will give us a boost. But it's a tough one to call. Just Cambridge with that game in hand, the form that they're in. You know, yes, I know. You know, they dropped points in the last game, but you think, look, that they would perhaps say they're in the box seat say, at home to Swindon, at home to us. But like I say, it's the running. Anything can happen. So it is, I would say, not quite a coin toss. It's not quite 50-50, but I would say not Serena with a great shout, never back against them. And I would say we're between 40 and 45% chance of automatics at the minute.
We're nudging up. We're nudging up, according to Stell. Royston, I'm not sure I can take much more of this season. The tension during matches is going to kill or cure me. Let's go. From across the big pond, Black Sox Pie. Hi, everyone. After struggling against Salford in recent matches, what a great chance to put that right on Saturday and deal a promotion rival a blow. Dave Badder, be very interesting to see what 11 we have available on Friday. I'm hoping the internationals are back and available, and unsure if Norburn will still be suspended. A few injuries picked up on Saturday. Also, Dave goes on, I think Bromley are going to miss out on autos, although I would like to see them promoted, obviously not at our expense. Would love to see MK miss out completely. Lots of twists and turns. Hello from Karen Knight. JJ Aviation, evening Paul and Stell and everyone. Obviously not sitting in autos is pleasing. However, to get over the finishing line, I'd really like to see us get the better of Salford. If we do, we're almost there. You might it might take a bit more than one win over Salford. JJ Aviation. Colin Metcalf, evening everyone. Martin Patterson has done a fantastic job to have us where we are, and every player has given 100% for the cause. I really hope we can do it, as they all deserve success for their efforts. Linda Lou says more buses, this is the official supporters club, are going to Salford. Please contact Iris if you need a seat. Evening from Stephen Newton. Harvey E is mounting a campaign about me clicking with my pen. Yeah, there we go. We all have these emotional crutches, eh? If it's the person I think it of, I'm sure you have some idiosyncrasies with your pool team. If it's Harvey Elmshurst, he's a very, very, very good pool player. Do you know what I mean? Like bordering international level in his pop. Tim Watchorn, evening, must be alert at the back and sharp up top, as we have found to our cost before. Salford will be a tough challenge. A few more on about my pen. Evening from John Parnham. John Parr, Saturday was the sort of day Pato would have only dreamed about the night before. Need another massive performance on Friday, followed by an even harder game, in my mind, against Newport. That is on Easter Monday. In our hands now, says Adam Kent. Still could win the league. Third will do, as will second for that matter. Hopefully, injuries don't cost us. Matt Arnold, last Tuesday, all but forgotten. This weekend's results nullified the feelings of doom. 9 points from the next 3, and I feel we only need one more win to be up from the last 3. Cookie, Cambridge Swindon Thursday night. What would be the best result of that game for us? In my opinion, a draw. Robert Greensmith, the 2 games over Easter are massive, along with the matches involving the teams around us. This time next week, we'll know a lot more. John Parnham, I don't know what it is that Salford do, but we always struggle against them. I hope that Martin and the team find a way to overcome them. Chewy, Lazarus, evening, Stell and Paul. Take 6 1-0 wins, secure third place now. Think Cambridge, Salford, are our toughest away games. John Parnham, off to my amateur dramatics rehearsals tonight, so getting my comments in before catching the bus. There you go. Mrs. Magic Boots of Ghana, surprised hadn't sold out up to earlier this afternoon for Friday. Will be there, but not getting carried away just yet. And more of an update, not on the bus that's taking John Parnham to his amateur dramatics, but Linda Lou, the bus on Friday, the second bus will be leaving at 10:45 from Meadow Lane. Please make contact with Iris. Right, there we are. We'll catch up with some more shortly. Right, Stel, drawing on your memory banks. So we're going into the real final running. People often talk about Easter being a bit of a sorting out period as well. I'm assuming at this stage of the season, you don't necessarily get any fitter. Yeah.
No.
How much over these next 6 games is it a mental challenge for head coach and players?
Yeah, it's everything. It's a physical and mental challenge. Playing Friday, Monday. You could look at the two that play on the Thursday, Cambridge and Swindon, as saying, do they get a bit of an advantage playing? It's not quite 24 hours early because I think they're a night kickoff as opposed to an afternoon on the Friday, but they play, the night before, if you like. So they might have a little bit longer rest. But it's meant the whole season is a mental challenge. That's what it is. It goes on for 10 months pretty much, and it is a mental challenge, and it's a roller coaster because it's impossible to keep yourself mentally at your finest for 10 months, and physically as well. Obviously, that's why you get injuries and what have you. You suspect the teams that will do the best over these, next month or whatever it is, just over a month, isn't it? 6 games, 7 games for Cambridge, will be the ones that handle that mental side of it as well as the physical side of it. It's the same physical demand for everybody. We all kick off on the same day, we all finish on the same day, and we all play the same number of league games in between that. Some might have a few more cup games, but the physical load is pretty much consistent for every team. Like I say, it's those that handle it better, get a little bit of luck with injuries, suspensions along the way, and you can make your own luck with that, of course. But those that handle the mental side of it, particularly now coming down, as I say, the running, the last 10 games of the season, nobody foresaw Saturday's set of results. Probably likewise, nobody saw us really getting done at Oldham in the way that we did. So things happen that you can't predict. And we're going to play the prediction game, of course. We're going to look at the fixtures forthcoming and go, well, we couldn't predict one weekend of fixtures, as in Saturday just gone, but we're going to try and predict what's happening over the next 4 or 5 weekends and 6, sets of fixtures. So again, it's that challenge of you say we can get carried away now, but in the dressing rooms, within the clubs, they'll be doing everything they can to keep on an even keel. Nothing different, nothing changes. Every game's worth 3 points, nothing more, nothing less. We do the things that have got us up to the top end of the table, keep doing the same things, replicate it, go out there, earn the right in every game. But every game is an individual thing. They won't be clumping them together of, or if we win that game and that game, then we'll, they'll be just looking at it, the next game. What is the next game? That's what we can affect. Saturday from a Notts perspective was a decent performance, professional, without us really being in 5th gear, free flowing at our best, but we got the job done. So that's good enough. And that's what it's about. Getting over the line. It was a banana skin potentially at Harrogate, particularly off the back of Oldham, but they dealt with it. They got the 3 points, and then everybody would have been given a lift as the results came in later in the afternoon. So look, that can do confidence the world of good. That can do belief the world of good, but you've got to go and replicate it. Go to Salford on Friday. Like I say, that's a bit of a bogey team for us, isn't it? A ground we haven't done well at. But what a great time it would be to reverse that trend, and go and get a result again. Every game is a mental challenge, a physical challenge, of course, but the closer you get to the end of the season, and I say you start getting these strange results, these things that you can't foresee happening, and it's pressure just builds up. Although pressure, people will say there isn't anything, it isn't a physical thing, but pressure, perceived pressure, can do funny things and affect performances. And the teams that don't let it affect them will be the teams that you would imagine will end up getting them top 3 places.
So, we all know there are certain managers that pride themselves. Former Notts man Neil Warnock always seemed to time his runs at the end of the season. Conversely, the infamous Kevin Keegan rant when Newcastle were the best team in the league all season to the last 6 or 7 games, and they fell apart. I'm just interested as an ex-player, having a perspective that we don't have it. Do the players themselves feel more pressure? Do the players themselves, does Matty Platt and all of them start looking at the fixtures like we do? Do they struggle to sleep even more the night before a game because they think, God, 3 games on when we were up or whatever? How do players manage that? Do they not think in the way that we do as support?
No, and that's it. And it's hard to actually describe it to you, but you said Matty Platt there. Ironically, he might be suffering more pressure than the player because he can't affect it. He's injured. He can't affect the games. The players, when you're playing, you've got that element of control about it. You can do something about it. Football becomes far more nervous or nerve-wracking when you can affect not a thing. When I'm sat in the commentary box now, or when I finished playing, or when I was injured as a player, the game becomes far more nerve-wracking because you can't do a thing about it. When you're fit and part of it, you're in the bubble, if you like, and you can control it. You feel like you can shape the destiny, of what's going to happen. You can play your part. And at the end of it, you go, well, if I didn't play my part, didn't do it well enough, we didn't achieve anything. But I've got a chance to shape the destiny for the next 6 games. So the players should be absolutely thriving in it to go, we've got a chance to achieve something. We've got a chance to become heroes, if you like, or, that sort of thing. That's not the motivating fact, but you've got a chance to achieve something. And that doesn't come around every season of your career. So it's a chance to put something in the positive column. You shouldn't shy away from it. You should not shy away from success. Pressure at the other end of the table is a different, being, if you like, different thing. But at the top end of the table, you're playing well. You've won your bulk of your games throughout the season to put you in that position. So confidence should be high. Belief should be high. And you look around the change rooms and see your teammates go, we've got good players. We've got the ability. We know we can do this. Whether you actually do it, that's another thing. But you've got that belief and you've got that control of, I'm going over that white line and I'm going to put my stamp on this and I'm going to be the one that leads my teammates with my teammates and gets us over the line and gets it done. So you've got that element of control about it and belief. And so your focus is on that and you focus on the next game, not the game in 4 games time, because what might happen to that? Your focus is on the next game. Like I say, on the outside, because we can't affect any of the games really, we can talk about batches of 6 games, the away games, the Salford game, the Cambridge game. We can isolate or pinpoint or group things together and speak collectively, but the players won't be doing any of that. They'll be looking next game, what do we need to do? What's Salford threat? What do we do to hurt Salford? How do we win the game? And it's the same as any other game. Again, we can all get excited about it and talk about the running. That is just a natural progression. And the players are aware of that. They're not so, cocooned that they're not aware of where we are and what's happening in the league table and whatever. But, like I say, as well as having that awareness, they should be thriving at it and going, again, these are the games that you want to play in. You want to be playing for something at the end of the season. You don't want to be playing in, nothing games where there's not a lot on it, where you can't achieve anything.
Very good. Sam Draper. Things are looking up again, but my main concern centres around Lucas Ness. He's a solid defender, but is he going to be able to handle this running and stay fit? Having Platt and McDonald out is a huge loss. Fingers crossed. John Parnham, only 2 weeks until we perform in the amateur dramatics, and then there were none by Agatha Christie. Dale Pikett, hope for no more injuries on the ploughed field of a Salford pitch. I tell you, if there's one person that's got a cushy job that won't be doing a lot this week, it'll be the Salford groundsman. Don't complain about the pitch and all the rest of it. It will be a ploughed field. I promise you. I promise you, every dark art will be employed by Salford. Platty and Robbo were on our train from Leeds to Harrogate for the game on Saturday. Yes, saw them in the crowd. Ian Haywood, anyone seen the video not put out of Matty in the crowd cheering the lads on? Adam Kent, who must also have been on that same train. Great to see Platt and Robbo getting the train to Harrogate and joining the fans in the stands before they got booted out by the police. Was that the players or the fans? Sam Draper, I did think of you, Sam, of this. Paul, I told you the weather was going to be bad at Oldham. Did you wear your raincoat like I told you to? I did wear my raincoat and my base layer. It didn't make a lot of difference. Oh, that was some of the worst conditions I can remember. Off the top of my head, worsened only by Huddersfield away in the FA Cup 4th or 5th round in 1982-83. Might have been 83-84. I think it was marginally wetter on the basis there was no covered end at Leeds Road on that night. Kay says, just to mention, it's 3 years today since we lost Jason Turner. Cannot believe how time flies. R.I.P. Jace. Late, sorry, says Shane Walker. We are going up. Bromley and Cambridge, says Ian Cooksey, have got 5 of the top 12 to play. Swindon and Salford 4, and us and MK Dons have 3. Again, Julie Howes saw Matty Platt and Robbo in the stands. I think the club posted some photos and a video as well. Derek Flowers, the main reason we could fail to get autos, inconsistency. Michael Fido, we couldn't have 3 harder away games. Mark Keenan, my top 3: MK Dons, Notts and Swindon. Essie Kent, couldn't see much where I was standing at Saturday, but really enjoyed the Matty Platt sing-along in front of us. Vaughan from the Dorset village of Sherborne, great result on Saturday, but we never ever seem to impose our authority on a game from the off, and we now appear to be vulnerable to conceding the first goal in a lot of matches. Cooksey says, Ian Cooksey, Barnet could be the fly in the ointment. We could beat Salford and Cambridge, then lose to Barnet. That's how football can kick you in the you-know-whats. John Parr, everyone thinks Bromley will slip, but I don't think they will. I can see MK Dons doing a bottle job again. Magpie 1862, 2nd and 3rd is achievable. Beat Salford, that's the big if. Win all remaining home games and beat Colchester, who have nothing to play for. We have it in us. Cambridge says Zedo have the game in hand, but play 3 of the top 5 plus Crewe and Grimsby. Martin Shipley, a golfer friend of mine, is a Cambridge supporter. He doesn't feel they'll finish in the autos. He says they're not a particularly strong side, and he thinks the tough running will mean the playoffs. We've never beaten Salford, says Ian Haywood. We need to turn them over. David Amy, we need 6 wins. Cambridge were bullied on Saturday by Barnet when I watched it, says Ian Cooksey. And so the messages keep coming in. We'll take a bit of a break, get Stel. Stel's itching to show us off all his research and analysis of run-ins and all the rest of it. Let's deal with Notts' running. 3 away games. We don't do particularly well against Colchester for that matter. The home fixtures, in theory, and of course this is not played in theory, do look a much better proposition. So Notts' running, Stel, what are you what are you expecting Notts to get from those 6 games?
Oh, What am I expecting? Look, the first thing to say is we can do all these predictions, but as we saw Saturday, it goes out the window because every game in a running is, you can go, well, games between the top 6, the top 10, they're going to be difficult, whereas games against Newport, well, Newport are going to be scrapping for their lives, aren't they, on Easter Monday? Because they're in a relegation scrap with other teams, but they've given themselves, again, with a result at the weekend, they've given themselves a fighting chance as well. So sometimes the games that look the hardest on paper might not actually be like that. Of course, every game is tough. Every game you have to earn the right. So that caveated, I'll answer the question. I think, and I'm not going to change my tune from what we said a few weeks ago, is that I think 85 points, it might not be enough, but I think 85 points has got to be the target, which is 4 wins. Now, I think as we would all agree, in theory, mathematically, we could lose to Salford, lose to Cambridge, win the other 4, and we'd be at 85 points. But I think if we lose to Salford and we lose to Cambridge, I think 85 points won't be enough. I think that moves the bar because they're by default going to get 3 points for a win for them 2 games. I think that moves the bar higher. So I think 85 should be enough, but it may not. So I don't know if that's sitting on the fence or hedging my bets or whatever. But I think we're more than capable of that. But I think there is that inconsistency. But this is League Two. And every team has got that inconsistency about them. MK Dons have lost their last 2 games. They've not picked, if they'd have won their last 2 games, they'd be top of the table now. But they're not. And we just listen to, a fair few people you quoted there have got Bromley missing out on top 3, yet they're 5 points clear of second with 6 games to go. So again, everybody's trying to predict forward and yes, Bromley have got a tough run in, but they're top of the table. They're the best team in the league after 40 games. You would imagine they're going to pick up 6 points to get themselves to 85 points. That's 2 wins for them out of 6. So look, we try and do this prediction, but I do think 85 points is a pretty good barometer of what's going to be needed. Now, again, you could argue to say that could be 4 wins in the games, not Salford and Cambridge, but I think if that's the case, then that 85 isn't going to be enough, as I've just said. So it's really, really tricky. I mean, again, everything will change with it's not a game week, is it? But every time a game is played, that amount might change. So it's fascinating. It really is. Mathematicians would struggle to predict it. These supercomputers that they have at the start of the season that never get it right anyway. But even with just 6 or 7 in Cambridge games to go, it's still so incredibly difficult to predict. It's untrue. But the fact of the matter is, it is so close, and it goes to show what we talk about: small margins over a season. Each club has played 40 games or 39 games to get to this point, and we're talking about finest of fine margins between them. Goal difference could be a massive factor, with it being as tight as it is. So again, you're looking out for where there will be some outlier results that nobody could foresee coming. And you never know, one team might go and win 6 out of 6, and that might just be Notts. You never know. But again, the game on Friday is absolutely massive. Like you, I think it's going to be a battle. It's not a game, it's a tight pitch, not a pitch for pretty football particularly, and both teams will know what's at stake, so it's going to be an absolute battle. And although it's not been a happy hunting ground for us, we're due, aren't we, there? We are due at Salford. So look, go and get 3 points on Friday, and that 85 points looks even closer. But it's that bit of taking points off people around you as well that is the sort of cherry on the cake, isn't it? But look, I think we're capable of getting 85 points. And if we do that, whether it's enough or not, I think you can't argue that is a pretty good achievement this season. If 85 points doesn't get you promoted, I think you put your hands up and say, well, okay, we've got to do it by the playoffs. But that is a massive improvement and a step up from last season.
As fans, the psychological side of this, a lot of our fan base would say, we've finished the season relatively poorly in each of the last 2 seasons since we've got back into the EFL. So I think that's certainly at the back of an element of our fan base. It's a different head coach. he appears, I think, to have a different mindset and drive to previous incumbent. Is that do you think this has any bearing, the fact we've tapered away in the previous 2 seasons, or do you think that is entirely irrelevant and is not a factor given the change in head coach, management, turnover of players?
Yeah, I think it's irrelevant. That I think that's things that we look for, don't we?
Yeah.
Patterns over years and things like that. But again, you know, you different coach, different setup. You know, a lot of different players, not all of them, of course, but you know, a different dynamic. And that's the thing. I think that's the thing we've all spoken about. I think pretty unanimously among the Notts fans and you know people that I hear commenting and things that I see is that this season we've got a grit, a steel, a determination. This never say die, bit of character, if you like. You know, yes, we're not the finished article. Of course, we're not, as we saw up at Boundary Park. You know, yes, we are fallible. We're a League Two team, and we've got League Two players. You know, playing, although we've got good quality players. But we've got this backbone, character, call it what you will, that I think might have been lacking. I'm not saying missing completely because we've had quality players, but I think I still go back and it hangs like a nightmare in the back of my head, that second leg at Wimbledon in the playoffs last year. Like I'm sure it does everybody who was there, who watched it. We didn't lay a glove on them, did we? Really, metaphorically, in that game, we went out the playoffs with a complete whimper. Now we might end up in the playoffs this season, and we might not win them because we know how difficult the playoffs are. But I don't think we'll go out with a whimper. I don't think Martin Patterson's will allow that. I don't think this squad of players will allow it. I think they've got a bit more physicality about them to allow that. And I don't see a team that will be in and around the playoffs that are capable of putting us out with a whimper. We might get beat. You know, that is the nature of football, of course. But I don't see us going out with a whimper. And I think, if I'm honest, I think ultimately that cost Stuart Maynard his job. Yes, we were poor. You know, it was a poor running. We didn't pick up many points, you know, at the back end of the season. But I think the manner of that second leg was the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of, do we keep him? Do we not? You know, and he's doing brilliantly well with York, as we can see. So he's a good coach. He got us in the playoffs. He did well. But I think that, for me, you know, was the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of right, we need to go differently. And I think with Martin, they have gone differently. They've evolved what they're looking for within a squad of players, you know, in terms of skill sets. I would still say, sat here, I would still say the previous season squad arguably had more skill and individual ability in it. But I think this squad undoubtedly has more grit, steel, and all them sort of resolute words that you need throughout a season to get a job done. Again, doesn't guarantee us getting the job done, but we've got a pretty good chance. And I think we've got, you know, additional bits in terms of that within the squad.
Mark Connors, Bromley, MK and Notts for me for the 3 autos. But we need to take care of our business. If Bromley lose against Barnet and Shrewsbury, then probably want them to lose versus MK and Cambridge. If they beat Barnet and Shrewsbury, we want them to beat MK and Cambridge. I trust you follow all of that. Ian Hayward, we need to not let Salford bully us like they have done in the past. Richard Elvian, I hope players stay humble and keep concentrating on next game ahead, as MP has instilled all season. Mark Connors, we need Swindon to get at least a draw at Cheltenham, and probably best if they win. Tim Alsop, Newport at home on Easter Mondays, bring a friend, but I haven't got any. So my daughters are coming with their boyfriends. Andy Eason, will Platty be the chief cheerleader at Salford as he was at Harrogate? Sam Draper, I have to admit, Paul, the Oldham game was the first time me and my dad have left a game early in 40 years. And you only live just down the road, Sam. However, we made it back to Rochdale in plenty of time for last orders to drown our sorrows. Richard Elvian, there's been some debate about Michael Cheek suffering a long-term injury. Still think Bromley will win the league, though. Ian Cooksey, we bounced back well from defeats. It's to be seen whether MK Bromley and Cambridge can do likewise. Yeah, that was one of Adam's better stats, 11 defeats. And after those 11 defeats, we have won the following game 9 times. It's a pretty impressive record. Jeff Jono, Paul, Blue Badge parking is permitted all around the ground at Salford, including permit holder only areas. Just don't block any drives and you'll be fine. I normally park about a mile away from Salford. It is a nightmare, absolute nightmare. Richard Elvin, how do we get a result against Salford? Ian Cooksey, need the spirit of 81 when we won one of the 5 games, Cambridge away, before beating Chelsea to get promoted. Lost Don Masson the week before due to injuries, his ribs, wasn't it? If I remember right. Sam Draper still makes interesting points. I had a metatarsal injury for 6 months at high school, and I was a lot more stressed out watching from the sidelines. I even got booked for dissent or calling the ref a name. David Amy, Matty was actually, this is Matty Black. Matty got asked to move as he was blocking the gangway. There you go. We last beat Salford in 2023, I believe, says Matt Arnold. Colin Metcalf, if we go up, I will personally buy Stell a candle to stick in that lantern on the window ledge. Oh, yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
There is one. It's just not, I'm too tight to light it. I'm not into candles. There is one in there. I mean,
very good.
I mean, that is not my idea, is it? Obviously, I had no say in that being there. But yeah, it's amazing what the background objects get a lot of attention, don't they?
There's the
It's not the dartboard.
Look, can you hear it clicking?
Yes, I can. I didn't realise that was you clicking. I just thought it was something on the broadband or something clicking, but I didn't realise that was you clicking a pen all these weeks.
Whatever they call it, emotional crutch or something.
Like a fidget spinner, one of them things. Remember them from a few years back?
Spinner, yeah, that's a good one. What else have we got? Sam Draper, I knew Bromley would lose to Barrow away. Did you tell anyone that, Sam? Or have you just come clean after the event? It's a long way and a tough ground. Plus, Barrow are fighting for their lives. I do wonder if we may come a bit unstuck against Newport. Might be a 0-0. Dale Pikett, we have beaten them once Friday night, and I think we won fairly comfortably. Has Martin Patterson earned the right to still be head coach next season, regardless of the outcome of this season, says Richard. Ian McQuillan, Paul, please tell Stell to sort his dartboard out. It's making me anxious. Is it there? I can't quite see.
The door's folded closed. Do we need that opening again? Look, I'll do anything now. I mean, I wasn't particularly superstitious as a player, but now again, another example of how you can't control things. I'm more superstitious now. Now I can't control anything than I ever was as a player. Like Adam was pulling me like about, and I salute Magpies, obviously, and things like that every time we see them. Yeah, I've become more so I will alter that. If people want that open, I will do that. Bear with me, right?
Hang on, right.
Is that any better? Does that mean we're going to beat Salford?
Magpies. Look, there's 2 of them. One for sorrow, 2 for joy. There they are. Look,
Mr. Magpie. Yeah.
I can't have the cat in here now, you see, because the black and white cat, County the cat, will pounce on these magpies, you see. So the cat's out there at the minute. Anyway, right. What are we on about now? I've lost my thread. Ian Cooksey. Pato is the only manager of the top 6 that hasn't had a promotion. Maybe he doesn't feel the pressure as much as the other 5. Who knows? But the human mind does funny things at times. I do think that's a very salient point, Ian. I do think that's a salient point. John Parr is pressure is on big time. It's MY. I think he means MK. Expecting them to do it easy, but that brings massive pressure with it. The well golfer, we know who that is, aka the dodgy stick man. I was going to mention this, but he's obviously managed. He struggles to post when he's up the road in Hucknall. When he's in Cyprus, it can get messages through. Greetings from Cyprus. I've just been to watch Cyprus versus Moldova. No talent on offer there. I think when he sent me some photos earlier, there was one member of the Magpie Circle flock, and quite literally less than a crowd of 1,000 for the big game that was Cyprus versus Moldova. Anyway, yeah, so safe travels back, the well golfer, aka Dodgy Stickman, and look forward to seeing you at Salford on Friday. Magpie 1862, I just can't stand another season in League Two. Please don't let us down knots. I have a horrible feeling, says the well golfer in Cyprus. Salford will sneak in. Matt Arnold, not really mentioned it tonight, but it's a salient point. The one thing blocking me thinking we go up is our disciplinary issues. Keep 11 on the pitch for the last 6 and we go up. Look, Ollie Norburn, it was a tough start for him. Probably wasn't football match fit when he joined the club. Was then having his best spell. His influence and experience was a kind of almost made him of the available players, first name on the team sheet. And he's had 2 red cards, or 4 yellows and 2 reds. And quite a few people have been digging him out. Do we know if he's available again yet? Was it a 2 match? Are we certain on that?
I was going to say this because somebody asked this early on, and I think we sort of skirted past it. But yeah, it is a 2-match ban for a second red, so he's not available Friday. That's our understanding of it. So he's not available.
Some people quite frustrated, given his experience, with the 2 red cards, and the red cards haven't been 96th minute red cards. They have been early in game, and they have made an absolutely massive difference to the result and a loss of points. On the other side, still, given the experience, the nous, I think I'm probably right. Belshaw's probably got a few. He's probably got more promotions than anybody else in the current group of players. We all know how it depends on results Friday. Is he someone you see playing a lot of minutes between now and the end of the season?
Yes, but let's address that because, like I say, you're absolutely right the way you categorise it. I think it's a bit of a tricky start for him, and that can happen when you go to a new club, no matter how experienced you are. I think it took a bit of a while to feel what his role was going to be. There was a little bit of similarity between him and Matt Palmer, wanting maybe to do the same job. Took a bit of time to understand who was doing what positions each were going to take, and how to work off each other. Then he spent a bit of time out the team, really, on the bench and what have you. But then he came back in the team, and like I say, I think he was one of the first names on the sheet. I thought he was playing brilliantly well, really, really imposing himself on games, playing well, dominating it, running things, organising it, trying to referee the game as well, using his experience. So absolute credit to him, showing his quality. Then the stupidity, and we've got, like I say, and this is the bit why I always encourage people never to have a fixed and closed position or opinion on somebody as a player. Oh, he's no good. Oh, he's brilliant. Because then you can't see the evidence of your own eyes. So Ollie Norburn, I would say, going up, that was one of the first names on the sheet. But then the 2 sendings off, 4 yellows, as you want to call it, for stupidity, stupid things that cost the team. Now, the first one happens, the throwing of the boot against Chesterfield. He puts an apology out. Okay, it can happen, but it's cost us, you know. And like I say, if it was a 21-year-old, you'd be going naive, got to learn, but he's got time to learn. And what I didn't really realise at Oldham, I know it was 4 games later, he'd done a 1-match ban. It was he's been sent off in consecutive starts. In games he's started, they're consecutive games because he only came on as a sub in the game before Oldham, which was Cheltenham. He came on as a sub. So he was in the starting line for Oldham and then gets sent off again for 2 yellows, and you go, well, that is as close to inexcusable as you can get, and for an experienced player, you have to say, look, I'll give you plaudits, massive plaudits for the way you were playing for a couple of months. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But you've been stupid. You've let the club down, you've let yourself down, let the team down in these 2 games that you've got sent off. But again, don't have a fixed position and say, well, he's not shot anybody or done anything like that. He's let himself down. He's been stupid on a couple of occasions, and you go, we expect better. He expects better. I'm absolutely certain he does. And he'll want the ground to open up and swallow him at that Oldham game and the Chesterfield game. But that doesn't then mean we go, right, you're a pariah, you're not involved, because he can help us get what we want. He's a good player at this level when he plays well. Got to get rid of, you've got to, you read the riot act, whatever you want to do, you have the kind, look, that is inexcusable what you've done. 2 games on the spin. Stupid, whatever word and verb and adjective you want to use for it, that is it. But that's it. Line in the sand. That's it. We've dealt with that. Now we move on. We can only control what is in front of us. What's gone is gone. He's not done something that is so unforgivable that he's now, like I say, pariah to this, outcast. We can't have you anywhere near the team. No. You can benefit the team. So you come in and you make up for what you've done and go, get back to playing how you were, and get us promoted, get us over the line, and then red cards will then be forgotten about. If you want them to last, if you want them to be dragged up all the while, anymore. I mean, the Chesterfield one will be ever, because that's an unbelievable thing, that they're throwing of a boot. But if you don't want it to be brought up in a whimsical kind of anecdotal way, as a bit of a laugh, blowing heck, Ollie Norburn, 2 sendings off, didn't help, but then came back and was brilliant. If you don't play well and do your bit and we don't get where we are, it will be pointed at and used as a reason why we haven't got up. So you don't want to be that scapegoat. You don't want to be that reason, and everybody's got that right to use it because of what's happened in, them 2 games. So, but that's it. And that is very much it in football, inside a dressing room, as it should be. Very, very rarely is a door closed, is a bridge burnt, if you like. Yes, it can happen, but I don't think this is going to happen between Martin and Ollie Norburn for what's happened. Look, he'll be known. He'll have let it be known that is way below what's expected. But does he play a big part between now and the end of the season? Yes, I think he can. I really do think he can, because, like I say, I look at him in the middle of the park with him, with Magpie, with Tom Yorpender. I think that makes us a strong, difficult to beat proposition. As people say, as long as they all stay on the pitch. So, like I say, there's a chance anybody can get sent off. Remember Tyrese Hall sending off at Bristol Rovers? He's not the sort of player you would think, but he, momentary bit of frustration, lost his head a little bit, but he's not done it since. So, look, everybody, and this is where pressure just ramps up on the games. Everybody knows what's out on it. Everybody knows what's expected. You let yourself down, you're letting your team down, the fans down, everybody down. So he's done that. He cannot, he knows he's got no more lives to live in the eyes of anybody at Notts. So he's got to go there and perform, and he can do, and that's it. And I think he can be a big positive. So again, he'll have had his knuckles wrapped, if you like, well and truly. He'll have probably been fined money. It'll cost him, well, certainly it cost him monetarily. But again, you don't burn your bridges. He's an asset. You utilise him as an asset. Every player is an asset of a football club, some more so than others. You don't burn your bridges unless you absolutely have to, as a matter of discipline or whatever. But, I don't think he's done anything so bad that you say, no, should never wear a not shirt again.
Debbie Caton, I'm home. Martin's got the lads fighting and believing. Top three for me, Cambridge, MK and Notts. Glad you're home, Debbie. Were you an hour late after missing the show on Sunday morning with the clocks? Nigel Cameron, our ability to bounce back after a defeat with a victory gives us that little extra belief. If it goes wrong for one game, which is more than likely, we win the next, win 4 of the next 6. Simples. One game at a time, the mantra, says Michael Fletcher. Full concentration on the next game. Mark Connor, Salford are the only top 6 team we have lost to this season, so we owe them one. If we go up, is Stell asks Ian Cooksey, is Stell going to give us a blast on the guitar behind him? One thing that never moves is that guitar. It never comes out the cover.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Crosby saluting the 2 Magpies. Yeah, there they are. Look, there they are. Got them there. Good to see Stell has a copy of the Magpie Redemption on his bookshelf. Do you? Oh, bloody hell, you must have better eyes than me. Have you?
I know I'm not much to look at, but everyone's spending too much time looking behind me.
The book. Dear. Wonder asks EOS, reflects Andy Easom, if we have had to set up an appointments system for the treatment room this morning, as the injury list just keeps getting longer and longer. John, I wonder what you both think about shin pads or lack thereof this season. In my opinion, we are picking up injuries due to this. Jatta's collision with the keeper being a case in point. We have to wear shin pads, but I must admit, sometimes when you see on the telly and they do a close-up, they talk about filed down shin pads. Crikey. You'll never, old school, someone that used to wear, even Stell won't remember these, Patrick Kevin Keegan boots, which were K leather, which was kangaroo leather. The leather was about that thick, but it didn't give you protection, and the new boots are so well, they're just a sheet of plastic, aren't they? You'll never demonstrate to me that it does not contribute to more injuries, but clearly Nike and Adidas will say it's got nothing to do with it. Did you have to wear shin pads in your day, Stella? Or could you get away at that point without?
No, I don't know as if they were mandatory. I mean, not me personally. I used to wear you remember, well, they were Velcro, but with a ankle support built in as well. I mean, they built as ankle protectors, weren't they? But it didn't protect anything. Look, I've got a completely I wore fairly decent sized, normal sized shin pads when I played. But nowadays they've got these micro pads, and I saw a pair of them the other day. They're like pencil erasers, about the size of the size of that. But every player's got a different preference. Things like that. I'm not sure, and obviously scientific community would say I'm not convinced that shin pads actually prevent too many injuries. But that's my controversial take, if you like. The muscular injuries, strain injuries, twisting injuries, all that sort of stuff. For the actual area that they cover on your shin, I don't know as you actually, other than a broken leg, I can't see what other injuries they particularly protect you from. And bearing in mind, at this stage of the season, players will have bruises, aches, pains, scar tissue, God knows what that they're playing with. I was never, I'd be taught by somebody who knows this medical science better than me, which is probably everybody, but I never believed that shin pads particularly save you from many injuries. Yet I wore fairly big ones myself when I played, but that was more of a comfort thing. So again, it is just what feels right.
What boots did you wear, Stow?
Puma Kings, pretty much. I experiment when I was younger. I experimented with a few, but I found Puma Kings. My feet now are shaped like the interior of a size 9.5 Puma King boot, and they're not pretty to look at now. They've got lumps and bumps all over, but they would fit into them like your favourite pair of slippers. Yeah, found them, stuck with them, always wore them.
Black and leather.
Oh, of course. Yeah, well, of course. Blooming heck. If anybody, I mean, nowadays you're in the minority if you wear black, aren't you? But, you know, in my day, which is a million years ago, obviously, but, you know, you had to be a decent player to even contemplate wearing coloured boots. And if you did, you could guarantee you were getting kicked within the first 5 minutes of a game. So, no, I was definitely black because I wasn't quick enough to get away from anybody from a kick-in.
Yeah, in the very, very dim and distant past, I remember a flying Derby winger. Your father would have certainly watched him, who
Alan
used to
Hinton.
wear white boots. There we go, Alan
Alan
Hinton. He was
Hinton,
one of the
yeah.
first, wasn't he? And
Yeah.
like, it's funny, I can remember Alan Hinton from 55 years ago because he wore white boots.
Yeah, I know. You're dead right. My dad used to do that with my dad's era of going and watching Derby at the baseball ground before he took me. But as you know, growing up in Derby as a Derby fan, you saw all the old highlights from the '70s when they won the league a couple of times. We're in Europe, and yeah, Alan Hinton with white boots was. I mean, they didn't stay white on that baseball ground pitch for long. There was barely any grass on it; it was all mud. So, yeah, that would have been. I mean, what that would have been thought of in the '70s, it must have got him absolutely kicked up and down the baseball ground wing. But yeah. Absolutely, it's a novelty. But nowadays, I mean, crikey me, it's a rarity to see a black and white pair.
Here's one for Cooksey, who no doubt will be trying to Google or grok this or whatever. I have no idea. Who do we think was the first Notts County player to wear coloured boots? Because I'm damn sure Jimmy Cyril wouldn't have let anyone. Don always used to wear black. I wonder, it's a question, Cooksey, get going through all the old YouTube videos. Let's see if we can find out who was the first Notts player to wear coloured boots. I genuinely have no idea. But I'm thinking some of them managers, there's no way Jimmy would have allowed anyone to wear non-black boots. So my guess will be somewhere around the Warnock era. Anyway, I don't know the answer. Debbie Caton. I hope Ollie Norburn starts Monday. Hope Martin takes him off when/if he gets a yellow. Is an interesting one from Robert Minister in Australia. This may be my last live Magpie Circle podcast for the season. As of next week, the start time with the change in the clocks will be 4 a.m. It's a great show with Paul's pen clicking and Stell's lantern. Look, Rob, if you get up at 5, it can't be that much more onerous to get up at 4, can it? Hey, all right. I mean, if it's like sort of 8 or that, yeah. If you're up at 5, Aaron, get up at 4. Get up at 4. You probably watch the first 5 minutes and be fast asleep again at 4:05. Ian Cooksey, players playing for contracts at the end of the season. What better way to get one than win a promotion? I think there's quite a few players out of contract. I saw people putting lists out and all the rest of it. Does that make any difference to a player's psyche or mentality, Stel?
It can do, yeah. I mean, it's not something that will just come into focus now. You know, obviously, them players that are out of contract will know that throughout the season, right from the start. You know,
Right.
so there'll be every player that's out of contract will want, right, I need a big season, I need a good season, I need to earn my next contract, need to get a pay rise or whatever it is, need to go up a level, whatever it is. Players are always aware of the contract situation. So those that are in the last year, absolutely throughout the year, they'll be wanting a decent year. They'll be wanting to earn that next one. And like I say, it goes down to the wire. And whoever is absolutely right. You get over the line. Now, it might not do you the world. Some people might say, well, some players might prefer not to get promoted because they might have more of a chance of a contract at Notts if they stay in League Two than if they go up to League One. But I would say every single player would rather have a promotion on their CV and then get released, because the suitors that you will have the next season or in that summer, you go, well, he's got promoted once, he's done it, course and distance, and you've got more takers, and you may well get yourself a pay rise, and a decent club or a better club than you would do if you haven't got a promotion on your CV. I reiterate, I played 19 years, one promotion on my CV. That was it. So they don't come around, all the time. So players will always, always rather win promotion and then worry about the consequences of that than thinking, I wonder if I'm better off or got a better chance of a contract at the club I'm at if we don't stay up. Always promotion, always.
Lippy Jane, you would think we would have the best physio team going with our university partnership. Are the team playing too much golf? I'm not quite sure how that injures you. Sam Draper, I noticed on the BBC website they've now given Jatta the goal against Cheltenham. He's on 15 now. And was on 12 a few days ago, according to the top scorer section on the League Two page. I think you were saying, weren't you, Stel? If you would have to do everything you can to get that goal and it not be classed as an own goal.
Absolutely. I mean, I gave it him. I looked at the footage. It's his last touch. It's inadvertent, yes, but it's his last touch before it goes in. It wasn't going in till it touched his shin. So it's his goal, right? For me, I've got it down as him. So my stats might differ from the official ones. But the only thing I don't know on the BBC website whether they count FA Cup goals, because obviously he scored at Brackley, didn't he? So I don't know if it's League and FA Cup on there. I don't know. But I've got him at 15 league goals plus 1 in the Cup. So look, if I'm Jatta, I'm shouting it I'm getting the club secretary to ring up on the Monday morning or Sunday morning, absolutely making a song and dance about it. I'm being asked to do all the media and everything that week to make sure it goes down as my goal officially. But look, he's got it for me. So my stats might be skewed from the official ones, but I've given him the goal against Cheltenham. So he's on 15 league, 1 in the Cup, 16 leading scorer. Hopefully he gets past that 20 mark come the end of the season.
Andy Esom, I'd like to think Scott Robertson may be around in the 17. If not for Friday, then certainly for Monday. Martin Shipley, I agree with Stell's points on Norburn, but for me, he should not start again this season, but sit him on the bench and use him as a second half sub at best. Mrs. Magic Boots Sagana, everyone, including Norburn, are going to be needed in the running. Teams will use tactics to wind our players up as we will them. Does Norburn have a big cross on his back now when he's playing minutes again with an opposition team still?
Yeah, he does, but he probably did anyway with his experience playing to. And that's a good point. That sort of, whoever, I didn't catch the name, whoever mentioned about, trying to wind players up. But believe me, this happens in every game, every season. You don't need to be sent off 2 games running for this to happen. You see it all over the play. We go back to the Chesterfield game, Dobra. He's the sort of player that tries to wind players, fans up, opposition up, and you get them sent off, get them booked. You're doing it to help your team. You're doing it to improve your chances of winning. It can be massively frustrating, but it happens right from game 1 of the season, right through to game 46. And you've got to, as a part of your makeup as a professional footballer is not rising to that bait. You'll get goaded, you get celebrations, you get all sorts of things. Things happen off the ball, when the officials aren't looking, everything that goes on is there with an intent to wind and get a response off your opponent, get him to strike you, get him to hit you, get him sent off. All things like this go off. Little bits of verbals, little bits of pulling, pushing, all sorts of stuff that go off in a game. The vast majority do go unnoticed because nothing ever comes of it. Nobody rises, nobody takes the bait. The second you take the bait and react, that's the minute you get a red card or, something untoward happens. So, again, it goes on all the time, but it just gets, like everything, it's under the microscope more the closer we get to the end of the season and the closer we get to prizes being dished out and things being won and achieved. And when there's so many teams going for it, everything is going to be analysed and under a microscope so much more that you've got to be even more professional, even more resilient, and it matters so much more.
Sally says Stell needs to sort out a virtual background. Okay, steady on. We'll have a word with our creative artistic director Wayne Wilkins to see if we can come up with a virtual background for Stell.
Well, I mean, talk about things that are above my pay grade. I mean, good grief, that could take me about the rest of my life and then some. I wouldn't know how you do things like that. So I'm just delighted I can get the camera the right way round.
Sam Draper, the shin pads when I played were like concrete slabs. Sondico, there's a name, was my brand. Duncan Comrie, with Norburn back for the last 5 games or available, does he get substituted straight away if he gets a yellow card in any of them? Interesting point. Ian Cooksey, Paul, I was really old school at school. Exercise books down the socks and jumpers for goalposts. Debbie Caton, I thought that the severity of the injuries, according to Martin, wouldn't be known until today. Fingers and toes crossed. It's good news for all. Stephen Newton, Jimmy Logan wore armour-plated pads in the 1894 Cup final. Ian Cooksey, Patrick Kevin Keegan with orange stripes and silver studs. I had Patrick Kevin Keegan with green stripes, silver studs, and Stell, a green sole. Always remembered them. Patrick, beautiful boots. Beautiful. Solid green sole.
I did have a pair of Patricks as a kid. Probably as a teenager or something. So I remember a pair of Patricks with. I think mine had red on though. I think mine had Patrick.
There was a red base as well.
Roma or something. I don't know, but I think as a kid, like I say, there was no Adidas or Nike when I was a kid. I did well to get Patricks, believe me.
Yeah. They were a good boot. Alan Ball wore white boots too, says Mark Connors. Indeed, he did. Mr. Magic Boots, I'll ignore this one. Were you there when Notts won the FA Cup final in 1894? No, but there was a Mace there, believe it or not. William Mace was there. My great-grandfather went on the train, which was a big thing in 1894. To Liverpool, I can tell you. He died long before, but it has been passed down the family annals. So there was a Mace at the 1894 FA Cup success. Cooksey, he went on the stagecoach. He got held up on the way by a highwayman. Yeah, Dick Turpin, yeah. Jurgen Pye, evening all, just back from a bike night. I hope you had a good one. Cooksey, I have no idea on coloured boots. I expect you to find out. But Warnock wasn't keen. There's a video of him at Sheffield United berating a player over the colour of his boots.
Do you know what? That's a former teammate like Robbie Coslook as well, and he's a character, Cos. And it is. And he sort of, I think I've seen the clip, and he sort of says, Warnock says, "Whose are these boots?" And I don't know if they're blue or red or whatever they are. And Robbie Coslook is a sort of, fullback, I think he was playing at the time, maybe in midfield. He goes, "They're mine, boss." He says, "I thought good players can only wear coloured boots." He says, "Oh, do you want me to get rid of them then?" Cos he's a character, Cos. I got a few stories about him. But yeah, I mean, all old school managers, honestly, you were taking life in your own hands if you wore coloured boots. They did not like them.
First manager, Arthur Cox, if you poddled up with a pair of yellow boots or something, Arthur would have given you a bit of short shrift, wouldn't he?
Absolutely, they'd have been in the bin. You wouldn't have worn it. Like I say, it just didn't happen. And again, for the reason, I mean, there was a realistic reason that in the game back then you could get smashed, couldn't you? Before you got a yellow card, there was a first 15 minutes was a freebie, a free for all. You go out on the pitch in your yellow boots. It's like saying, "Look at me, I'm a player." So anybody who wanted to put a tackle in would be right. Okay, we'll see how good of a player you are after this, and absolutely clatter you. It was like a red rag to a bull. Wearing coloured boots back then.
And I tell you what, it weren't just boots, was it? Hairstyles. If you remember, when we had Martin Patterson on at the start of the season, I plucked up the courage to ask him about when he dyed his hair red at Stoke, because Tony Pulis had told me about it. And he did actually kind of semi-owned up to it, didn't he, Pato? We said, I think Tony put a bit of VAT on it, but he didn't deny it. And managers then, it was really draconian. Darren Moore, one of the nicest men in football, when he was at West Brom and they got promoted into the top division, and he got the new haircut with the kind of like dreadlocks in it and braids and all that sort of thing. Forgive me, I don't know the full terminology. So he's had it done on a Friday. He's turned up on a Saturday, and everyone's, cool, blimey. Everyone's like clocked it. West Brom's got beat, right? Monday morning, right? They've all gone. They've all been shorn, and he's got the skinhead because Gary Megson's gone, oi, I'm not having any of my players. You're a centre half. You're there to edit, right? Get your hair cut. And they all went. So the next game he's played, and he's shaved his head. But it was like that, wasn't it? The real, sergeant major type, where a manager controlled every aspect of a player's entire life, didn't he?
Yeah, pretty much so. I mean, I think probably the most famous and well-known one is Alex Ferguson, isn't it? For the control he had over the young players, particularly, what he allowed them to do, not to do, cars they were allowed to drive, cars they weren't allowed to drive. And, to the youngsters nowadays, they might look back and go, well, how draconian is all that? That shouldn't be allowed to happen. You can do what you want and all that. But that's how it was. Us of a certain age and vintage, that's exactly how it was. There was no messing about, no showboating, or very little, if you like. You had to be some player. You had to be performing and be some player if you wanted to have the sort of superstar trappings of coloured boots and fancy haircuts and fancy clothes and a fancy flash car. Them things were few and far between, not too long ago.
Yeah, I don't know how we ended up on this, but anyway, Cooksey, you are tasked with finding the first Notts footballer ever to wear coloured boots, i.e. non-black. Be nice to see Luca get some game time, says Leslie Watson. Adam Kent says, Essie and I, husband and wife, are sat in our bar/shed and it's still just about light out. Richard Terry, would it have been Justin Fashanu who was the first to wear coloured boots for Notts in the 1980s? That's a great shout. That's a great shout. I don't know whether Ellen wore them once when he come over to Notts with Howard and Jimmy, but yeah, that there'd be some. That's not a bad shout. Robert Minister, it's actually normally 6 when your program starts over here in Australia. We stop at daylight savings this weekend, but I happen to be up at 4:45 a.m. 4 a.m. may be just a bridge too far, but we will see what happens. I'm looking forward to the next month. Debbie Caton, Jatta, I'm sure, is number 3 for scoring in the league so far. JJ Aviation, I would have forgiven Norburn halfway through the season, but those Reds could have cost us autos, so I wouldn't play him. It's interesting. I mean, just for me, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, as you say, in those situations. Sam Draper believes the BBC League 2 scorers is just the league. I'm sure you will go and check it out. Crosby says a virtual background for Stell with his legendary Black Puma Kings hung up in the background. Balin Ball, obviously Patrick Boots. I'm guessing they must have paid Kevin Keegan an absolute fortune, right, in the late 70s, early 80s. Patrick Boots with metal studs as a kid. No one came near me. Luke Williams always insisted on decent pads and socks up. Yeah, I think Who was the young kid that come on and scored? Sanderson. Didn't he not have his pads done up properly? And I think he called him out over it. Andy Eason, Martin Chivers wore white boots. Yes, that's not a bad shout. Debbie Caton, Kevin Keegan with his perm. I hated his frizzy hair. It was all the rage, wasn't it? Did Souness have one as well? Magic boots are gone, and then I've done all the messages. I think someone has been posted using my mnemonic. Only been listening to the banter, so someone is being naughty, has not posted anything tonight. Must be Mrs. Magic Boots are gone, is it? I had Puma Kings too, Stell, says Sam Draper, and I was also a striker. It served me well. Right, well, we've gone on for a bit tonight. We better wrap up. Stel, no more continental breaks or anything. You're actually in Blighty, and you will be going to Salford with Adam.
I will,
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be doing both the Easter games. So yeah, looking forward to it. I mean, it really is mouthwater, isn't it? Now, when all the permutations and everything aside, but when you actually get to the games, and again, don't forget there is that big game on Thursday night between Cambridge and Swindon. So things might have changed. We might be out the top three. Who knows? But there is going to be twists and turns along the way. Do not give up hope at any point until it's actually decided. So yeah, great. Can't wait for it.
Yes, thank you to one and all. Thank you, Steph, for all your input tonight, as always. Thank you to our official partners, JH Accountants, Trent Navigation, Big Shed and Over the Road. So, off to Salford we will go. I don't know whether I'll do a Saturday supplement or a Sunday supplement this week. I'll see how I feel after the game and let everybody know. And obviously, we've then got Newport on Easter Monday. Both the kickoffs on Easter are normal 3 o'clock kickoffs. Thank you, one and all. Stel, thank you for all the in-depth forensic work you've done on the fixtures and everything else.
Yeah, pleasure as always. And again, what a week we've got to look forward to. And hope everyone has a good week. Stay safe and follow us. And hope we've got a good week by next time we speak.
Indeed. Don't forget to get your tickets for Kedwin Scott, May the 13th. The early bird discount of £12 ends over Easter. So get yourself sorted as quickly as you possibly can. Thank you, one and all. Here's fingers crossed. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy. Off we go. Off we go to Salford. Cheers, everyone. Look forward to catching up with you soon. Good night.
Cheers.